Hello everyone and welcome to Storytime. I'm Miss Morgan and today we're going to be reading My Tree by Hope Lim, pictures by Il Song Na. In the backyard of our new home stood an old tree, tall, crooked, quiet. It reminded me of the persimmon tree that shaded our porch in Korea. Deep purple plums dotted every branch, so I named her Plummy. I watered her, climbed on her, and found a perfect spot to hide and spy until everyone wondered where I was. I spent my first day in America with Plummy, and she became my tree. Whenever I missed my home in Korea, Plummy lifted me up and I played on her branches. In the spring, I celebrated my birthday under her blooming white flowers. In summer, I watched the sky through her thick green leaves. In fall, I picked up purple plums and shared them with neighbors. In the winter, I listened to the wind whistling through her dark brown branches. Plummy made me feel at home. One spring night, a rainstorm with high winds swept through the city and knocked down many trees, old and new. Plummy fell down that night. The next morning, I saw Plummy lying in the middle of the yard, away from the house, away from the deck, and away from the fence. Her roots were pulled out of the earth, worn out and sad. An old tree knows how to lie down when it's time, my grandma had told me in Korea. I climbed on Plummy and stood on her. How immense she looked under my feet. For days she turned into everything I wished for. A treehouse, a rocket, an island, a ship. Neighborhood kids joined in and we all had fun until a little boy scraped his arm and cried, and then it was time for Plummy to go. The next day, Plummy was hauled away. Without Plummy, everything felt different. No more white flowers, no more green shade, no more purple plums or whistling wind, and no more secret hiding place. In the middle of the yard, I stood alone, remembering Plummy, tall, crooked, quiet. Daddy, I miss Plummy. Daddy nodded and squeezed my hand. A few days later, we planted a new plum tree, short and straight, in Plummy's old place. I watered her and patted down the soil. I wondered if she would ever know an old tree once stood where her roots were spreading. I watered her more, and she grew little by little. Then one spring day, I saw something familiar. The new plum tree had her first blossoms. Fresh white flowers dotted every branch and fluttered in the breeze. The new tree was short and straight, but domed in milky petals. She stood quiet, like Plummy. "Hello," I whispered. In the backyard of our home stands a young plum tree. I water her and watch her grow tall and strong, and I feel right at home. The end. Thank you guys so much for joining me this week for Storytime. I hope you liked the book, and don't forget to check out Miss Debbie and Miss Erica's Storytimes on Tuesday, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys again next week. Bye!